Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to my walk and talk out in the wilds of Suffolk. In other words, in the backyard, in the field, in the field at the back of my house. I hope you're all well. Welcome along. If it's your first time here, thank you very much for joining me. If you're a returning guest, thank you also equally for coming back. Wonderful to have so many people along for the journey. It's been interesting thus far, but I think from here on it's only going to get more so. Yeah, exciting times. So today's topic of discussion, while I have a bit of a stroll around the muddy fields here in Suffolk, is does crime pay? Now, I don't know about you. I was always growing up. Before I go on, not trying to link this company with criminals or anything like that, but thank you very much, eToro, for my new shirt. I'm not affiliated with eToro, I'm not promoting eToro, I use them myself, they're awesome. And I just got my shirt yesterday, so I wanted to proudly put it on and wear it. Thank you, eToro, thank you very much. So, does crime pay? Nothing to do with eToro, of course. But does crime pay? You know, when I was growing up, when I was a kid, I was always taught that crime doesn't pay. You know, and as I've gone into my older life, I've questioned that and thought to myself, does crime pay? Because, you know, I've busted my nut for 30 odd years as a chef. You know, I've done everything that I was told I should do. You know, work hard. Obviously I didn't get a good education because, you know, that's probably what stopped me. That's probably what it is. I just didn't have a good education. That's why I'm not successful. Mm-hmm. Sure. So does crime pay? Look, I look around myself. I used to live in London. You know, if you haven't lived in London, big city, like many in the world, and London has got a lot going for it. But it's also, there's a lot of criminals there who are driving very nice cars, who have big wads of money, and they're walking as free as you and I are. Well, not so much anymore. No one's free anymore, are they? But, you know, you have, like, let's go down the list. Drug dealers. I mean, the amount of drug dealers in London that are driving, you know, fancy cars and lovely, and, you know, they've got big wads of money, they've got nice places that they live, drive fancy cars. And I know plenty of people that have dealt drugs in London for years, and the police look the other way. Well, they don't just look the other way, they've taken some bribes and some money on the side, and who knows how these drugs are getting into the country in the first place. I don't know. There are people that do, there are people that are responsible, and they're not some little pissant player who's bringing a kilo of cocaine up their ass. You know, these are the big boys, the real criminals. The real criminals, politicians, bankers. You know, these people are, you know, the wealthy elite of the world are the biggest fucking criminals in the world. You know, and they're never punished. They're never punished. You know, we've got, you know, the world elite of Hollywood pedophiles. You know, that's including people like Tom Hanks. You've got enablers like Oprah Winfrey. You know, the thing is that, like, I've discussed these subjects with many people, and naming people like Tom Hanks and Oprah Winfrey, and people say to me, "Are you worried about being sued?" And well, seriously, I'm not. Of course, I'm not. This is public information; it's out there, so I'm not the first one to say it. You know, it's speculation. Of course, it's speculation, because do I have any proof? I don't. But who am I? I'm no one. But you know, we've been brought up to think this crime doesn't pay, but it does, and it has done for centuries. You know, everyone from bankers to royalty, and everything in between. You know, the only difference is that all these criminals, the difference between a standard, everyday, ordinary, bog standard criminal like me and you know, us bad people who do really terrible things, you know, really, really terrible things like work and sort of look after our families and try and get by. Us terrible people, yeah, we're the bad ones. We're the ones that the world is being fucked over by. The average Joe who's just trying to get by and pay their fucking bills and eat, feed their family and keep a roof over their head. We're the problem, apparently. Now, the issue is the people who are the biggest criminals are also the people who write the laws. They make up the fucking rules. But, you know, I don't want to pick on the Queen, but let's start with the Queen. Okay? Now, the Queen had offshore investments, was investing money offshore in schemes, let's put it that way, in schemes that if you and I did it, we'd be in prison. You know, you got TV personalities like Jimmy Carr, you know, you've got movie personalities, you've got these kind of elitist fucking scum who are involved in tax avoidance, you know, schemes in other countries. And the Queen was too, the Queen of England, the Queen of a fucking country. Her Majesty's revenue and customs laws say that you can't do what she did. But was the Queen charged? Did anything happen? Of course not. Politicians. You know, a few years ago here in the UK, we had politicians and their expenses scandals where they were, well, this is a legitimate expense to have my moat cleaned around my castle is a legitimate expense. My duck pond cleaning is a legitimate expense of a politician. Criminals. All of them. All of them. I don't care which party you're looking at. They're all criminals. Anybody who steps up to be a politician is a criminal. Starts at the local levels. They work how they can game the system. Then they work their way up into a political office. And the only way you're going to get into a high political office is if you're compromised. Same in banking. Same in anything. Same in any industry. You want to get to the top of the tree, you've got to be willing to sacrifice yourself. You've got to be willing to sacrifice either your moral compass or you've got to be willing to sacrifice. They've got to have dirt on you in order for you to be in a position of power and influence. And that sounds like it's coming from someone, oh, you're just bitter and angry because you haven't made it. Okay, sure. The game is rigged. The table's not level. You know, you can never get forward. You can never get up in a system that deliberately has the game rigged against you by criminals who control the game. They control the rules of the game. They control who can partake in the game. And if they decide that you're not worthy of playing the game, if you're smarter than they are, then you're taken out of the game. The problem of all this, the optics of this whole thing, is that you have people growing up, young kids growing up, you know, impoverished neighbourhoods, who see this. They see the drug dealers walking outside in the street, or who've got nice cars, they've got guns, they've got money in their pocket, they've got all the things that these kids wish that they had their entire lives that they've never had because they're impoverished, because the system has made them so. So they see these kids out in the street with these guns and their knives and, you know, gangs and affiliation and a belonging to something, you know, and they belong to something. These gangs, these kids are in gangs, and they see this, and then they see politicians that are taking the piss, and they see bankers that are taking the piss, and all they see everywhere around them is people, criminals, taking advantage of the system. And what does that create? Creates people who are going to take advantage of the system as well. So if the people at the top are taking advantage of the system, why can't I? Why can't you? Why can't these kids? But no, if they step outside the rules, they get shot or they get imprisoned. Why is it that the big players, why is it that these scumbags who fucking run the world, the bankers, royalty, the elites, World Economic Forum, sports stars, music industry stars, movie stars. Who the fuck are these people? And why do they have rights and privileges and abilities to avoid law, the ability to avoid punishment for their crimes, where we couldn't? Is it just about, having a good lawyer? Is it just about having enough money to buy a good lawyer to get you clear of what they're trying to pin on you? No, of course not. Every part of the system is corrupt. Every single part. From politics to medicine and everything in between. Law is by far the most corrupt. Banking, politics, all of it. It's all going to go. So, why am I doing this talk today on National Popcorn Day? That's what today is, National Popcorn Day in the US. Why today am I doing this talk about crime and punishment? And does crime pay? Why today, you ask? Well, for those of you, Jesus, the wind is strong today. It's almost like we're on the leading edge of a storm that's coming in. Almost. So today and tomorrow are two very, very important days for the whole world. It starts in America, it reverberates from there. So what's happening right now across the world is very, very important, and it's going to change the way that the world operates from here on. So what we're experiencing right now, Estonia, massive political pressure there with the government. Italy, heavily involved in the US political fraud. Then we've got the UK. Boris, bye-bye. You won't be here for long, Phil. The accountability is happening as we speak. These criminals that have been making the rules and enslaving humanity are now being exposed for the crimes that they've committed. Crimes against humanity, crimes, financial crimes, entrapment, all these crimes. I mean, these people are the lowest of the low. They're filth, absolute scum. What they've done to children, human trafficking, child trafficking, paedophilia, adrenochrome, absolute filth. Children, people, drugs, guns, money is how the world works. Children are being traded. Children, babies. Accountability is coming for this scum. Today and tomorrow will be start of the exposure, and in the coming weeks, months, we will see the entire corrupt establishment come to their knees. This is the most important time in our history. We've been through some big shit on this planet, if you want to call it that. But we've been enslaved our entire lives. And that slavery is coming to an end with the arrests and prosecution through legal channels. As much as some of us would prefer that it was done in a different way, we can't advocate for violence coming from us. It has to be done legally through the courts, because that's the only way it can be done. If we were to take matters into our own hands, we're as bad as they are, and we don't want to be that. None of us want to be that. This scum that has been running the planet for a long, long time is being taken out. The trash has been finally taken out. Accountability is coming. Well, it's here. So I urge you all to take a breath, go for a walk, get outside, prepare yourself for revelations that none of us want to hear. Because over the next days, weeks, months, the truth will be revealed. I don't think even a quarter of it's going to come out, because then everybody would rise up and that would be the end of it. That would be literally, there wouldn't be a single one of them alive. And perhaps at the end of this there's not going to be. Perhaps this treasonous, the people that have committed treason, the people that have committed crimes against humanity, their only punishment is one that can be dealt through military tribunal. So I've said it before, here's what I think is going to happen. I think the military is now in charge of the US, so they're going to go through the military tribunals to take out the people responsible for the fraud and for the crimes against humanity and for the attempted coup in the US, selling the US out state secrets to China. So I think the military is in charge. It will be for a short period while they go through the process of rooting out the evil, treasonous criminals. And I think a new election will be called within the next few months. We're going to a gold standard. The whole economic financial system is going to change. The law is going to change. We're going to be returning to the natural law. The world is changing right before your eyes, and I urge you all to take a moment, have a breath, and relax, and let the people who are running this operation of taking down these criminals do their job. Stay out of the way, and trust that things will work out that's going to benefit us all rather than enslave us like we have been. And on that note, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Enjoy your popcorn day. I know I will. Yeah, let's see where we go. Next 2 days are going to be crazy. Right, look after yourselves, look after each other. Love you all. Look forward to speaking to you soon. Take care. Bye.